Hello, welcome to the maiden edition of our flagship program called Security Africa. If you check the TV programs in your country, hardly will you find any program solely dedicated to the security challenges of the African continent. But you can get TV programs on soccer, fashion, weather, food, financial markets, cosmetics, but you will not find anyone solely dedicated to the security issues of the African continent. Yet we all lament endlessly about the security situation in our respective countries. There ought to be a serious conversation by now about the security situation in the African continent. There is no more time to be wasted on speculations or waiting for external assistance to solve this problem. Time has come for African security issues to be given the due attention they deserve. So, why is this program, Security Africa, timely and urgent? This is because the security situation in Africa today is threatening. Every patriotic African is disturbed by the security situation across the African continent. I know you are worried as well. The truth is that the security situation now is hopeless. Anyone that tells you they're on top of it is deceiving you. People are killed almost on a daily basis across the African continent, especially in Congo, Burkina Faso, Egypt, Mali, Libya, Central African Republic, Nigeria. The list goes on and on. Life has become very cheap in Africa. If you look around, you'll find no foreign invaders. You'll not find any enemy aircraft bombing homes, industrial complexes, or military installations. No war is declared, yet people are slaughtered on a daily basis across the African continent. Hardly any day passes without people being killed in different parts of Africa. The saddest aspect is that the target of the killing is the defenseless poor rural people who live in mud houses. They are not part of government, neither do they make policies. They have no water, no electricity, no roads, no hospitals or schools. Their children are hungry and sick. Their government do not even know that they exist in those remote villages. These are the ones that are killed by these armed men. Their farms and cows destroyed. Sometimes an entire village is massacred and their mud houses destroyed. It will take days for their government to even know that they have been killed by these unknown armed men. The survivors trek kilometers to internally displaced people's camps or refugee camps looking for help. Do you know that some people have lived in refugee camps for over 10 years without returning to their villages? Who are those behind these killings? Foreign invaders? No. Africans, especially the African youths. They manifest as terrorists, kidnappers, armed robbers, cultists, herdsmen, cattle rustlers, and armed militias, just to mention a few. Are they fighting for the defense of their nations? No. So who do they represent? They represent their tribes, their religion, foreign governments, or criminal organizations. What is their task? Their task is go into the villages, kill your fellow citizens, kill your neighbors, destroy their houses and their livelihood, destroy anything of value you see, terrorize them. This is exactly what they are doing in many parts of Africa today, especially in Somalia, Libya, Congo, Central African Republic, Mali, Nigeria. The list goes on and on. Everywhere is paralyzed by insecurity. Farmers cannot farm for fear of being killed by herdsmen. Herdsmen cannot move their cattle for fear of cattle rustlers. Nowhere is safe, not even in the marketplaces, the worship centers, the schools, hospitals, even the comfort of your own homes. Nowhere is safe any longer. You might want to ask, Where are the security forces? Why wouldn't they arrest and kill those that are killing their citizens? The surprising thing is that most African nations today cannot even put up a good fight against these armed men that are terrorizing and killing their citizens. National armies have been defeated battle after battle, and territories seized and occupied by these armed men. Some security forces even take to their heels on sighting these armed attackers. It is this bad. Citizens of affected countries have lost confidence in their security forces to defend them. Some have therefore formed vigilante groups, self-defense forces, or militias to protect their own enclaves. This development has its own security consequences for any nation that wants to use local militias or vigilantes as part of their security architecture. One of the fallout of this is that most times these vigilantes or local militias later become part of the national security problems. In some African countries, these armed groups that are killing innocent citizens are feared by the government. In some cases, out of hopelessness and fear, they are pardoned under dubious amnesty programs, rewarded with contracts, and paid huge sums of money, and sometimes brought into governance in exchange for peace. This is how powerless some countries have become and how powerful some violent non-state actors have become in Africa today. You can imagine the predicament of the African citizens who cannot be defended by their security forces or given justice by his courts. By now, a lot of things will be going through your mind. You must be asking a lot of questions. Why is it that Africans are the ones killing each other? Why is it that Africans are the ones destroying their respective countries? Why is it that the youths, who are the leaders of tomorrow, are the centers of the killings, the armed robbery, the terrorism, the insurgency, the cultism, and the destruction of their own nations? If truly the youths are the leaders of tomorrow, what kind of leaders will these youth be? What kind of country will they run? Don't forget that some of them have abandoned schools and have been carrying guns as child soldiers and militias for a long time. Some have found violence and crime so profitable that they have become political thugs, political assassins, gang leaders, and outright bandits. They now live and make money through violence and killings. Violence, killing of innocent citizens, thuggery or kidnapping is to them the most profitable vocation for now. Some analysts blame unemployment for all these killings and destructions. But don't forget that crime is crime. There is no justification whatsoever for committing this crime in Africa. But come to think of it, thousands of youths graduate from high school only to find out that their national assets have been sold or privatized under dubious economic deals by their leaders. So, what is left for them? Nothing. No employment, no visible source of living. So, what are they expected to do? Some of them have therefore joined insurgency, terrorism, or armed banditry. Those who cannot afford these kind of vocations have volunteered to join the new trans-Saharan slave train moving from Libya to Europe or the Middle East, where African youths are bought and sold like any commodity in the market. Those who escape the slave market end up drowning in the Mediterranean Sea. Survivors are rescued and put in detention centers across Europe. Everywhere you look in Africa, you see hopelessness, death, blood, tears, sufferings, and insecurity. The religious leaders are not even bothered. They are busy preaching earthly prosperity, division, hatred, and sometimes bloodletting. What are the political leaders? Those ones are busy making empty promises and dividing the masses along tribal or religious lines. It is this bad. This is what is happening in Africa today. By now, you must be asking more questions. When will there be peace in Africa? When can Africa get it right? When can African leaders begin to work for the benefit of their own people? When will African leaders stop looking for solutions outside Africa? Why is the African continent in chaos? Why are Africans killing their own citizens? Why are Africans being used to destroy their respective nations? Again, you might ask, how were these Africans indoctrinated and brainwashed to kill their fellow citizens and make their respective nations ungovernable? How were these youth trained to carry out this destruction and bloodbath across Africa? Who are those training them? Where are their guns coming from? What are the strategic calculations and plans of those behind the destabilization of Africa? Why Africa in the first place? Is the African continent a threat to other continents? It is in finding answers to these questions that Africa Security Television has launched a program called Security Africa. So, what is Security Africa all about? Security Africa is a program dedicated solely for the security challenges of the African continent. Security Africa will discuss Africa's security challenges from the air, land, sea, and the cyberspace domain. It will go further to look at Africa's contemporary security challenges, as well as emerging security threats of the 21st century. This program will answer some of the questions agitating your mind. It will also unravel some of the mysteries around the current insecurity and much more. Furthermore, it will amass the reasons for the killings, the ethnic antagonism, the ethno-religious wars, and the political violence going on across the African continent. It will also unmask the identity of the killers, their sources of weapons, who the sponsors are, and the overall intentions of those behind the destabilization of Africa. The program has been organized into episodes and sometimes series for ease of analysis and understanding. In the course of this program, some security analysts and experts will be invited to make contributions to ensure that you get proper enlightenment. The security situation in Africa today needs thorough investigation because if you look around Africa, the security challenges have the same template from Egypt to Kenya, from Central African Republic to Nigeria, from Burkina Faso to Congo. In fact, across the African continent, same template. So, time has come for you to understand why there are so many security challenges in your country today. You will also be given opportunity to make your own contributions or air your views through the appropriate platforms. I know you have been waiting for this opportunity. Are you ready to understand the mysteries behind the growing insecurity in Africa? Are you ready to participate in making Africa safe and secure? If you are ready, then see you in the next episode. Thank you for watching.